Please welcome CEO and founder of Matador Network and GuideGeek, Ross Borden.
I might just sit down here with you guys. Can we get the clicker going? So my name is Ross Borden. I'm from Northern California, and I run a company called Matador Network. Matador is a global media platform focused on travel and adventure. And today I'm going to talk about GenAI and some mistakes that we've made this year in our journey with generative AI. But first, a little background on me and Matador. So we're kind of a different kind of media company, consumer-focused travel media company, and we have a pretty unique structure. So we have one of the biggest travel websites on the internet. We have a 900-person influencer team, and not just Instagrammers, but chefs, foodies, yogis, athletes, artists, musicians, people with a really interesting story who have grown a large following on social. We have a 70,000-person creator network, that is the network in Matador Network, that fuels our everyday content, both on social and web. And that gives us a really local insights at a very global scale. And then last but definitely not least, we have our studio, Matador Studios, which is 50 people strong now. And these guys are at any given moment shooting all over the world for many of the world's largest brands, destinations. All in, we work with about 300 DMOs. And then obviously airline, hospitality, as well as auto and outdoor and a whole host of other categories. So when did AI come on the scene? So earlier this year, around January, we finagled early access to the LLM for OpenAI before the launch of ChatGPT. I think like most people, we were pretty blown away by how powerful it could be, and being, travel people, we thought, man, this could be incredible for travel specifically. So we set out to create the best travel AI. And there was a lot of trial and error, but we launched initially on WhatsApp, and kind of our hunch was like, if we can do something that is incredibly accessible, in that it's not an app, you don't have to download anything, it's super focused, it's specifically for travel, and we could fix a lot of the problems. The fact that it didn't have access to real-time flights, hotels, we could add those through APIs, we'd add weather, currency conversion, and then we make it ultimately super frictionless by putting it on WhatsApp, and so you can just scan a QR code and connect with the AI. And that's what we did. And as soon as we put it on WhatsApp, we sent it to a couple of our influencers, and bam, it sort of caught fire. And so this has become, gone from being a complete experiment to actually a pretty exciting part of our business now, 10 months later. So this is the platform now. So basically, it's available on both WhatsApp and Instagram. The Instagram account, GuideGeek.ai, already has over 1 million followers. And so we've unleashed it also inside of Instagram. You can just chat with the DMs on that account like you're chatting with a friend. And that was our hunch. We wanted to create something that felt like you were chatting with a friend, getting travel advice. I'm sure a lot of you in the audience are that friend in your friend group that everyone comes to for travel advice. So GuideGeek would be that friend, except GuideGeek has read every single hotel review, every single restaurant review, watched every single video, and is an expert on the entire world. It's been extremely exciting the last couple months seeing all the conversations. We essentially decided to build an entire software platform so we could actually see the conversations that are happening with users. We could intervene on those conversations with human takeover and respond back to the user as the AI. And we could, most importantly, fix the things that just weren't working well. So this is, and of course, it's amazing that it's fluent in 50 languages. So we are a kind of a Western media company. Most of our content is in English. So it's been very exciting that now we have tens or hundreds of thousands of users who maybe English is a second language, or maybe they don't speak English at all, but they're more comfortable planning trips in Italian, Portuguese, French, Mandarin. And as you can see, if you can read these, people are using the service for a host of different reasons, for different ways. We found 20% of people are actually using it while they travel, while 80% of people are using it to plan future trips. But it's an extremely sticky product in that people keep coming back over and over and using the AI, and it's almost like we've changed a behavior, which is super exciting. So we've had over 100,000 people search for flights, and a lot of people booking flights, booking hotels. And so this is kind of a snapshot of our dev roadmap for 24 for GuideGeek. We're really excited about the data. A lot of our users have asked the AI, up to 100 or 200 questions. When someone asks the AI, asks GuideGeek that many questions, we know an incredible amount about this person. Their home airport, their travel style, are they a solo traveler, family traveler? If they're a family, how old their kids are, what their family's into, travel budget, dates, holidays. So you kind of walk away with just an incredible amount of knowledge about the user. And so we're really going to lean into that. And I think, one of the things that we're really trying to go for is not having the user to have to re-explain themselves. So they can say, hey, where should I take the kids for Christmas, GuideGeek? And GuideGeek already knows that, Dubai's been on this person's list for a while, but they've never been. GuideGeek already knows that they're based in London, that their wife is vegan, that their kids are in their teenage years. So everything that it gives that user as even high-level information or custom itineraries have all those things in mind already. Also, rich media. We're already testing rich media with Meta. We're in a couple really exciting betas with Meta right now, and I'll talk about Meta in a minute and what a great partner they've become for us. And then voice notes. I think natural language is really it. And it's better, it's great now to chat and text and type with the AI, but soon we're just going to be talking to the AI. And then vertical video. Matador is a massive owner of vertical video. We've shot video all over the world over the last 10 years through our studio, and we all think that when you can connect AI and video, so you say, what are the coolest villas I can rent in Ubud, Bali? GuideGeek will tell you that answer right now, but soon it will say, would you also like to see a video montage of some of these villas right here? And I think that connection to vertical video and AI is going to be really exciting. So as you can imagine, we're sort of building the tracks as the train speeds forward on this thing, and we've been doing that for the last 10 months. And in doing so, we've made a lot of mistakes. We've made assumptions that turned out to be wrong. We've run full speed in the wrong direction. So kind of the point of this talk is to make sure that as many of you roll out your GenAI strategy, hopefully you can avoid some of the mistakes that we actually made as well. So number one is just acknowledging the gravity of this technology. And I know that, every 3 or 4 years, we all get there's a new hype cycle. Last time it was Web3 and crypto, and then it fizzles out, and it was, it seems like it was all just hype. But I think it's worth asking this question. What was the last time that not one, but 3 different trillion-dollar companies pivoted their entire strategy towards a single technology? And the answer, of course, is it's never happened. And now we've seen Microsoft, Google, and Meta all pivot their entire strategy towards sort of an AI-first approach. Very easily, this 3 could turn to 5. I think Apple, it has to be building an AI strategy. Amazon's doing major things with AI. ByteDance and TikTok, that algorithm is 100% AI. So, arguably even more than 3. So I really think that this will change the world. I think it will live up to the hype, unlike so many other hype cycles before it. And travel also really needs this. If you think about it, travel's kind of been stuck in the dark ages for a very long time. Since the launch of the OTAs in the mid-90s, there haven't been a lot of leaps forward in how we plan and ultimately book travel. Sure, we do get inspired differently. Social media came along, and now you see something on Instagram or TikTok, and you decide that's the place I want to go. But what happens next is typically a long slog of Google searches, reading reviews if you do that kind of thing, searching around for the best deal, and you have to go find the things that appeal to you. The things that appeal to you don't find you. And I think that's a major thing that is going to be changed by GenAI. So the way we see it, Gen AI could potentially and probably will eat the entire funnel whole. So in terms of exploring high-level options based on my interests, I think a lot of that, I've seen it with thousands of conversations on GuideGeek, people saying, I live in London, where can I fly within an 8-hour flight that's warm, that's great for the family? Give me some options. And maybe some of those options that GuideGeek lays out are places that were on that person's radar, but maybe some of them aren't. So, that one is going to change. The price compare, the travel booking, all that kind of stuff, pretty soon we're going to have AI travel agents, non-human agents, out kind of doing a lot of that searching and that slogging for us. So that's going to be really exciting. And then this sort of like, okay, I'm going to Dubai. What are we going to do when we get there? Let's plan out an itinerary. Tons of people using GuideGeek for this. So that nitty gritty, like I love architecture, I'm a foodie, especially seafood, and I've got young kids. Build me an itinerary. It just makes these things so much easier. And then on-the-go decisions, that's, again, back to that 20% of GuideGeek users who are actually using it while they travel. So they don't want to get out their laptop or find a Wi-Fi connection or even do a Google search. They're just looking for quick info on the go. So my kids are starving. I'm in this neighborhood of Barcelona. Give me some options for restaurants. Bam. Answer immediately. So we think, Gen AI will ultimately eat the entire travel funnel. And so we really look at this as an entire platform. First came search, then social, and now AI. An entire platform is a new way to reach and influence travelers. So number 2, don't build a strategy around Gen AI that requires a lot of inputs. I'll give you an example. Well, maybe I won't give you this blank slide. Oh, still loading maybe. So we're doing one at a time. Okay. So this is, and no offense to TripAdvisor, but this is TripAdvisor's AI itinerary builder. But to get to the good stuff, to get to the end result, you have to click through like 6 pages. You've got to click into an old school calendar function. You're not talking to it or typing to it. It's not picking up on little cues or gathering tidbits about what you're looking for. You have to say, I'm a foodie, I'm an adventure person, I'm traveling as a family. I think this kind of stuff is going to look really, really old school in about a year. And I actually read in Skift that this is doing really well for TripAdvisor, so awesome. But I think especially even 6 months to a year from now, I think this will be looked at as like kind of a cute feature, but certainly not the whole enchilada when it comes to AI. Also, to be clear, I have no insights into Airbnb's forward-looking strategy. However, many of you probably saw that Brian Chesky and Airbnb snapped up an unlaunched startup and a 12-person team a couple months ago called GamePlanner.ai. And if you look at that, I mean, it wasn't even live yet. Whatever they had, I'm sure the demo was incredible, but it was basically, it looks like an acqui-hire, like they were acquiring the talent. And there was talent. The co-founder was the co-founder of Siri, and obviously acquired by Apple, worked along Steve Jobs. So, super talented at what? Natural language. So I think that, this bodes well for Airbnb to probably come out with a lot of really compelling products built around natural language AI in the coming years. Brian went even further to say in a Fortune piece a couple days after the acquisition was announced that Airbnb's holy grail is to become an AI travel agent. So that was validating for GuideGeek, but I think we can expect to see some really compelling stuff come out of Airbnb in the coming years for that. So another mistake we made in the beginning is like that we didn't expose the AI to enough people on enough platforms. We started with it on a web page. We weren't getting very many users. We were trying to promote it, but when things really took off is when we put it on social and especially on WhatsApp. I think a lot of travel brands and companies are going to put AI in their apps. I think that's great. Expedia has the ChatGPT feature inside their app. I think it's pretty cool. I like how it keeps track of what you find on the AI and has little tabs. But again, I would ask, what about all the people who don't have the Expedia app? So instead, I would just try to put the AI in as many places as you can. And to do that, you really want to set it free, more particularly on the Meta platforms, because that's where the users are. This is Mark Zuckerberg launching Meta's AI strategy. I don't know if you guys have checked out OpenAI or Meta AI. It's built on Llama 2, which is their open source model. And it works through WhatsApp, it works within the chat on Instagram, and it's really slick. You can tag it. If I'm talking to a friend, I can actually bring the AI into a conversation and start asking questions and access the AI that way. So it's pretty slick. There hasn't been a lot of fanfare since this launch, where he had Snoop Dogg and a whole bunch of other athletes and mega influencers all as their own AIs. It's almost been sort of crickets on the internet. So I don't know how that launch is going, but we look at Meta as an incredible partner. Why? Because they have the users. That's where everyone is spending their time. They're already on these apps all day long. And so if you can, again, make the AI super accessible by putting it where the users are, I think it's a winning strategy. Again, we started with WhatsApp, then we went to Instagram. We already have over 1 million followers on our Instagram account, and you can just click in the DMs and start chatting with GuideGeek inside of Instagram. Another place, kind of a no-brainer, is a website. So with a very simple snippet of JavaScript, you can get your AI. All the AI is going to the same place. It's going to the same dashboard where your team could read the conversations, interact with the users. But if I'm checking out this Visit Britain program that Matador has, and I get inspired about Britain, I can just ask the AI right there on the website. The other thing is, don't forget about the humans on your team. I feel like when we talk about AI, we think there's so much separation between the humans and the machines. And then if you set up an AI, I was actually talking to someone last night, and she was saying we were all ready to set up this AI and sort of unleash it on our platform, on our website. But then we got some troubling answers that were inaccurate, and there were some problems, and so we totally pulled back. That's kind of how we thought about it at the very beginning. And then I realized that there's a lot you can do. Obviously, AI isn't perfect, but there's a lot that your human team can do to really interact with those answers and improve the accuracy of the service. So, everyone knows what a hallucination is when the AI just makes something up. Obviously, a pretty scary thing for us in the travel industry. We've been able to use our human team to actually read every single conversation. It was a big job. There's a team of 5 people. They read hundreds of thousands of conversations. But in doing so, we brought our errors from around 15% to under 4%. Our goal by end of January is to be under 2%. I don't know if it's really going to get much better than that, but I'd be kind of mission accomplished if we can have 98% of all conversations giving accurate information and no misunderstandings between the human user and the AI. And that sort of something to read up on is RLHF. That's reinforcement learning from human feedback. We even have a feature where the human user can actually ask a question for the user. So our agent can say, I kind of see what this person's trying to ask, so I'm going to ask a ghost question. And then if they like that answer, they can send that answer, and the user on the other end is kind of amazed that this perfect answer just came out. They thought there was a misunderstanding, and all of a sudden the AI gets it, and they get a great answer back. So don't build something that's tied specifically to one LLM. So this is another thing. We're testing Llama 2 right now. It's on our Amazon servers. Again, that's open source model that Meta came out with. There's a huge announcement from Google. Google has Bard, and now Gemini will be their answer to OpenAI, so you can actually connect to Gemini. I don't think the pricing has come out unless it came out today, but we're eagerly awaiting that. And then this is really important and very counterintuitive, at least for me. I always thought that the more sharp and more sophisticated the model, the better it's going to follow our directions. And it turns out that is not the case. We found that the more advanced models actually have more of a mind of their own, and they're more likely to sort of go off the reservation and disobey your prompts. which is something that us humans should take note of, right? If you think about that at a macro scale and you talk about super intelligent AI, that might be super, disobedient to the things that we want to do, might do whatever it wants. So it's not uncommon with GuideGeek, and obviously this counts for brand safety, not uncommon on the newer models of GuideGeek. If you say, hey, if you ask something that's not a travel question, hey, what's a great chocolate chip cookie recipe? It will probably remind you that it's a travel AI, but it's probably going to give you that chocolate chip cookie recipe because it wants to be helpful, and it definitely knows the answer. So that's another thing to just kind of keep in mind. I know I'm running out of time, so this is a really important one. So when thinking big, don't forget to think small. What I mean by this is that everyone, when ChatGPT came out, basically thought everyone was going to go there for everything. And I think where we're going is a place where everyone, every brand, every airline, every DMO is going to want to have their own AI based on their own data, their own brand, their own content. So that's my prediction. If you have an Instagram account now, or if you got on social, you're probably going to have an AI based on your brand as well. So we're launching, an army of GuideGeek powered AIs for many of our clients, both DMOs, airlines, and such. And then the last thing, because I know I'm fully out of time now, is that content is still king. The AI, one of the big breakthroughs we've had recently is that we can site index. We can index your content, so the user's not going, the AI's not going around your website and your content to get an answer. It's actually pulling directly from your website, sending you traffic. This is a huge leap forward, and you can even attribute, if you're sending transactions to one of your partners, you can say, this came from us, and it's all trackable, so that's a big deal. So, bottom line, in 2024, website indexing, vertical video, and APIs will be sort of the three keys that we see to really successful AIs in travel. And then the final thing is that you just have to get out there and do it. It's scary to launch a product when you're not sure it's perfect, but if you can have at least some confidence that it's brand safe, you kind of have to have this move fast and break things mentality and go out and learn, because you're going to get so much data and user and experience from that it will ultimately help you launch better products going forward. Thanks, guys.